Hello everyone, welcome to the EDUeki Learning channel. This is Ravdy and I'm going over with the Python series. Today is day 2 that I'm explaining about Python introduction, installation and IDE related setup. And this is the course tracker that I'm following to mention all the topics that I'm going to cover in this Python series. Please do follow and subscribe to the EDUeki Learning channel to get the notification out on your mobile, right? And you know that Python is like a open source. You can download the Python binary from python.org. Of course, there are different ways how you can install the Python, but I'm just going over with one specific process, right? You can just go to this downloads tab and that will help you to download the latest version or the specific version that is compatible for your operating system, right? And let's say if I click on Mac OS, you can see that the stable and the pre-releases. The latest stable release is 3.14 and I do recommend to go for a stable release with a n-1 version. When I say n-1, n is the latest, so -2 means probably 3.12, right? So go with 3.11 or 12, right, if the latest is 14, so that it will be fully compatible for all the applications libraries that you are going to work in the upcoming sessions, right? And the pre-releases is basically for who wanted to try the new things that are coming out in the upcoming releases, not required at the moment, right? You can go to the documentation tab here and click on the tutorial here. Of course, you can see the specific version documentation as well here to get more details what is included in each version. But clicking on this tutorial will take you to the complete tutorial of this Python. Of course, it's hard to go with this complete tutorial to learn the things. That's where I'm here to explain the basics and whatever is needed to get started with this Python, right? And get into the DevOps, cloud and AI related use cases and development. Okay. And good. And in order to start writing the Python program, you would need an editor. Like how you guys are using the Microsoft Word as an editor to compose your documents, or Notepad editor to write some plain text documents. Similarly, we need an editor where we can write a Python program and save it as a file, correct? But we don't need this type of plain text editors which will be useful for writing any passages. Python is like a programming, right? We need an editor which is fully compatible and understanding the programming syntaxes. That's where it will be easy for you to start developing the program so quickly with the help of these IDEs. When I say IDE, integrated development environment, right? So there are multiple IDEs that are out there for Python. Let me quickly go and look for them. List of IDEs for Python, right? So here you can see the list of IDE softwares that you can use for writing the Python code, starting from PyCharm, Visual Studio Code and Eclipse, and there are many here in the list, right? I do recommend to go and prefer this PyCharm, which is best, right, for writing the Python code or developing the Python related applications. Okay, and of course it's up to you which you wanted to go. And if you prefer to go for PyCharm, then you need to install PyCharm IDE. Right, so you can just go to the official web portal here and you can just download the PyCharm IDE here to the operating system that you are installed within your system. Good. The installation process is straightforward. I'm not going to show you the installation exactly because these softwares are already installed in my machine, but you just need to double click the file that is downloaded, even if it is Python or PyCharm. That will take you to the series of steps to complete the installation process, right? Once the installation is completed, you just need to click on the icon that is appearing on your desktop for this PyCharm. So let me click on PyCharm icon in my system. This is how it opens. Then first thing that you need to do is you need to create a new project, right? So click on this new project icon. It will ask you to the location where exactly you wanted to save the Python related files of this project, right? So you can navigate through your folder structure. In my case, let's say I wanted to keep these project files in EDUeki folder, in PyDevAI folder, right? And let's say I wanted to create a new folder here. My folder name is code. So this is the folder where I wanted to keep all of my Python related files, right? And then just click on open. And you see here, it is also asking you to choose the Python binary version, which it has to use for compiling, executing your code, right? You can see multiple versions of Python here. And of course, it's possible to have multiple Python versions in one single system. We'll talk about those things in later. How do we maintain a multiple versions, right? And yeah, you can choose whichever the version that you are preferring to execute this particular project. Okay, and I'm just preferring to go with the 3.11. Let me choose that and click on create. The moment when you click on create, this is how the project got created for you. And currently this is an empty folder, right? Of course we have one .virtual environment folder. Let it be for now. All what you need to do is right click and create a new file in this folder, right? I'm just choosing a Python file and give the name of the file here. The name of the file can be anything, it's up to you. For now, let me go with the file name as test, and that's how you can see that the test.py file got created in your code folder, right? And whatever the files that you are creating, those files are actually saved in your folder structure, guys. The PyCharm IDE is just an editor where you can open it, edit the files and save the files, right? But actually these files get stored in your machine only, right? And .py as an extension for any Python files that you are writing. The left side you can see the folder and the files navigation panel, and once you double click on that file, you can see the editor. That is where you can see the cursor. That's where you need to start writing the Python code. Good to know. And you can change the settings anytime going through here, and you can see these three dots, edit the runtime parameters, right? And you can change the Python version if you wanted to execute it with a different version for any reason. And there are a few other settings as well available here. We'll use them as and when we go into the next level, right? And developing some projects. Okay, for now let me click on cancel. Good. Now in order to run the Python commands, in order to execute this file, right, you would need a shell. The shell is where you will be running the Python commands in order to execute the Python scripts, right? If you are working on Windows machines, you can open the Windows CMD, which is the command line portal, right? If you prefer to use any Linux kind of environment, even if it is a Windows system, then I do prefer to install the Git bash. Okay, so you can see here, this is the Git bash. Okay, the Git bash will give you a Linux kind of a terminal in the Windows systems as well. Of course, Git bash, the purpose is to use the Git related repository operations, but yes, we can use this Git bash for any command line related operations as well, right? So if you are not comfortable with a Windows CMD prompt, then you can install the Git bash, right? You can just go to this official web portal and choose your operating system and just click on download, then double click, it's the same routine process, right, to install this software. Once it is installed, you will get to know automatically how to open the shell or a terminal. Okay, if it is a Mac OS, the Mac people already has a built-in terminal available. You can just open that terminal and start writing the commands. If you have already installed a Python binary of your specific version that you have chosen, then these commands should work from your terminal, right? So Python 3 space hyphen hyphen version is the command to check which Python version is currently installed in your machine. Sometimes you will get the command as Python 3, sometimes you will get the command as Python. It depends on few other things. Let me run this command. Okay, so yeah, you check it out in your system. You have got a Python or Python 3. In my case, both are working fine because I did little settings there, right, to have this 3.11 as an default version. We'll talk about those settings later. Okay, let me check the version one more time. Good. Now, in order to start working with the code, right, you need to have an interpreter. What is interpreter? Basically, the Python binary that I have installed, right, which has the capability to start executing your code, right? So that is called as an interpreter, which will be interpreting your syntaxes, your code, it into the backend machine understandable format in order to execute it, correct? In order to invoke that interpreter, you just need to run this Python 3 command or Python command, whichever works for you, right? And you can see here there are three arrows. This is called as an interpreter. In this interpreter, now you should start writing or executing a code. For example, I'm just typing a equal to 10, hit enter, right? This is called as an interpreter. The interpreter is great if you quickly want to check one line of command, one line of code, right? But if you wanted to write some tens of lines of code, then interpreter is not great, right? Because your code should be saved in a file format, right? But I just wanted to show you what is interpreter, how quickly you can go to the interpreter to start executing at least one line of code. But whatever you are doing on the interpreter, that will not be saved permanently. Here I executed something called a equal to 10. It won't be saved once you exit from the interpreter. You see that I'm exiting it from this interpreter back to your general regular terminal. Now that a equal to 10 is not saved anymore, right? So we will not be using these interpreters just like that to develop any real-time projects, because we are writing many tons of lines of code, and I want the code to be get saved into the file and you'll be executing the file. That's the whole concept, right? Okay, so now let me quickly show you how to execute a Python file, right? And we have the nice PyCharm IDE here in order to start writing the code and execute it. So let me give the same a equal to 10 here. Now I have one line of code in this test.py. I wanted to execute this file. Now you need a Python shell, right? I mean, you need a terminal where you can run the commands, correct? In order to get the terminal, you need to use this option. Let me make this big screen, right? Here you can see the terminal option. If you click on that, you will see the terminal is opened here. Whatever the terminal that you see, this is the same terminal that you opened some time back. For example, this terminal. The only thing is the IDE has given you the comfortability of listing the files in the left side panel, right? Giving the editor for you to edit, and right below you have the terminal also opened, right? So that you can start executing the code here only, instead of you going back to the different window to execute the code, right? That is just a comfortability that you are getting in. but this is the same terminal that you are actually opening in your system, right? Good. And I would advise that you please be in the present working directory where your code is available. In my case, the test.py file is available in the code folder, right? And you see that currently my present working directory, currently I am in this code folder only. Now we can start running this command, python 3 space, and specify the file name, which file that you wanted to execute. Hit enter. Okay. Is it the right folder that I'm in? Let me check that. You see that there's a space here. That's how it is not able to detect. Let me remove this space. My command is python 3 space test.py, and that's it. My code is executed fine. And of course, I'm not seeing any responses because I have not put any print statements here. That is fine for now, right? So this is one way how you can execute the scripts, all right? And if you don't want to use this command line related things, you can even execute this code directly from your IDE as well. And you see here there is a current file. That means it has currently chosen the file that you opened, and there is a play button here. This play button also will help you to execute this file. Let me click on this play button. You see that now the file has got executed successfully, right? It's up to the case to case basis, requirement basis, right? You want to go with the IDE provided method or the command line method. I would advise to go with the IDE provided this play button, because it's easy for you to debug the code as well later, right? Whenever you are developing a lot of stuff. Okay, so this is the basic setup. What is IDE? How to go with this. Now you see that whenever I have created a file with a .py extension, the IDE is automatically understood that this is a Python file. And even when you start writing the code, right, it understood that the a is a variable, 10 is a literal. You see the color format, all this stuff. How IDE know all this? Basically, IDE has some plugins, right? By default, all these plugins might have been installed. For any reason, if these plugins are not available, then you can go to the settings tab and click on this plugins, right? And you can see the marketplace and search for the plugin names. Let's say I wanted to search for Python plugins, right? You will see tons of plugins related to the Python, right? You just need to install the required plugin. That plugin will bring some capabilities to your IDE, right? That's how it works. And currently, if I go to the install tab here, right, and you see that there are some plugins that are already installed in this IDE. These are default installed. If you want anything, you can go to the marketplace and install the stuff here, guys. Okay, let me click on cancel for now. Okay, so now we need to start working with the variables, data types. How do we read the data, parse the data, all this stuff. Okay, for today, let me show you a quick thing. A is a variable, 10 is the literal, or I would say a value that is assigned to this variable, and I can quickly show this value in the print statement, right? So now let me execute it, and you see now the value 10 got printed whenever I said print A. That is my output. Good. So that is for today. I just wanted to quickly show you a Python installation and introduction and the versions and setting up the IDE. So right, so please do set up the IDE and be ready for the tomorrow lecture, because tomorrow I'm going to get started with the data types, variables, and a lot of practical exercises there. All right, guys, thank you for your time. Please do add any comments if you wanted to share, right, your view on my course or any feedback, so that I'll be keep improving the stuff and adding the things back to the tracker and the question tracker as well. All right. Thank you, team.